Spoilers ahead.
Obviously.
Dame Aylin is one of the most recognized characters in Baldur's Gate 3. Some of her scenes surely will be remembered. Dame Aylin is a paladin in the service of goddess Selûne. What's more, she's an Aasimar.
But hold on.
I know, in the game we have a few dialogues which confirm that Aylin is an Aasimar, but we still can spend a couple of minutes talking about divine beings in D&D. Because maybe some other divine fit her better.
Or I might have recorded a bold-faced lie.
From Volo's Guide to Monsters we can learn that Aasimar's only purpose is to serve the gods. They are guardians of the law and good, so their main quest is to destroy evil and bring justice. There are different types of Aasimar. In my opinion, Dame Aylin is a protector. Protector Aasimar guard the weak, fight the darkness. Ketheric lured Aylin to Shadowfell by telling her that someone there was in need of help.
He and his loathsome advisor Balthazar lured me into the Shadowfell, claimed they'd found someone in need of my aid. There, they trapped me in their infernal cage.
When a protector Aasimar unleashes divine power, their eyes shine and two wings appear. Okay, to be fair, Aylin wings stay with her to the end of the game, but it shows that her wings can disappear. Aasimar are born from humans and celestial beings and have divine light in their souls.
Do I not radiate with my mother's brightness, her glory? There can be no doubt. I am of her silvered flesh, her celestial womb.
They can live up to 160 years. So I think you can spot the problem here. Aasimar aren't naturally immortal. Aasimar get an agent, typically Deva, who guides them from an early age. They receive dreams, visions, and special feelings, which give them a sense of destiny. Obviously, they are religious. Like, they don't have a choice.
Feel my voice rattle your bones as I proclaim our victory. Moon Maiden Selûne, hear me!
Do you know who is an immortal child of a god? Empyrean.
Good nose. Like a nasty little terrier.
They are beautiful, statuesque, and self-assured. They can experience deity-like fits of serenity or rage. They fight fearlessly. Sounds about right.
Dame Aylin is watching. She is indomitable. And when her face lights the shadows of your wrongdoing, you are broken by its beauty.
What is important, Empyrean don't age, but they can be killed. Spirit of fallen Empyrean returns to its home plane. There, their parents resurrect them. Dame Aylin was killed over and over by a Shar worshipper who wanted to become Dark Justicias, and of course, she died every time when Ketheric was supposed to die, and always came back.
I was killed, murdered, made dead over and over and over by justiciars of every make and kind. I was reborn, for it is my nature.
Dame Aylin looks like a character who was inspired by both. Dame Aylin is an Aasimar paladin in the service of goddess Selûne.
That moon witch.
She was enslaved by Ketheric Thorm. Her power grants him immortality. How did this all start? Ketheric Thorm was a worshipper of Selûne. His daughter, Isobel, fell in love with Aylin, which he didn't approve of. Ketheric doesn't trust Aylin.
Aylin, the thief. You stole Isobel from me.
Later, Isobel died. Her death caused him immense pain and grief, which drove him to Shar. He was defeated by Druid and Harpers. Before his death, he conjured a Sharan curse which destroyed the land. Ketheric was brought back to life by the Lord of Bones. Mirkul promised him to resurrect Isobel. Ketheric agreed and gave him his body and soul.
That man changes allegiances more frequently than a courtesan changes their bedsheets.
Later, thanks to the help of necromancer Balthazar, he enslaved Dame Aylin and used her to make himself immortal. Dame Aylin was enslaved for hundreds of years. She was called Nightsong. Balthazar experimented on her.
Ketherick. I welcome the sight of him after these 100 years. He whose immortality I supply with my very soul.
In Act 1, we meet Aradin. He and other mercenaries try to retrieve a mysterious artifact, Nightsong, but failed. In Act 3, you can see Aradin again. And meet Lorroakan, the mage who offered a huge amount of money for Nightsong. Lorroakan is the squatter in Ramaziv's tower. It's not his tower, obviously.
Ramaziv, gone. Open for the taking.
He isn't a powerful enough wizard to get this kind of tower. If you play spellcaster, you can point this out in dialogue. His source of power are the myrmidons. He siphons power from them. Without them, he's pretty mid. Even Lorroakan himself admits that Roland is more powerful than him.
The corpse pauses, perhaps resisting the truth.
His project, animated armor Clank, is pretty weak, definitely worse than other construct we can find in-game, like Bernard in the Arcane Tower. Lorroakan's equipment is mediocre. You can find better stuff in the library in the tower. It looks like Lorroakan doesn't have the ability to get it himself. He can't get deeper into the vault. He hires adventurers to do everything for him. The ritual circle, the wand to imprison Aylin, not his inventions.
Ramaziv's notes. Balthazar's magic.
Lorroakan came from Amn, which explained a lot.
What's that? I didn't quite catch the words, but the insolent tone was clear enough.
Amnian society values only material wealth and status. Best clothes, unique jewelry, beautiful houses, lavish parties. It doesn't matter that the person will nearly go bankrupt in the process, which explains why he doesn't have much coins and cares so much about fame. The document in a hidden room in the vault mentions the Cult of Wizards of Amn. It is a secret organization which obsessively monitors foreign mages. They appear in Baldur's Gate 2. Lorroakan gatekeeps knowledge from the library.
Between us, even Master Lorroakan was reluctant to house them in his tower. The pen is mightier than the magic wand, apparently.
Despite this, Lorroakan is arrogant, thinking that he can be a god.
I serve no god, but that which stares back at me in the mirror.
So he doesn't serve any of them, even Mystra.
Would seek the power of gods for the pettiest of reasons, his own gratification. At least I seek them for the better of all.
His overweening pride makes him write a book about himself. The note on the front page suggests that Lorroakan lied about his achievements. Roland thinks that he is the most powerful wizard because of his lies.
What? You don't know of him? I've admired him for years. Both his magic and political sway are forces to be reckoned with. Rest assured, the names Roland and Lorroakan will be known to you soon enough. You'll see.
Lorroakan has a short temper and he is violent. He uses his authority to abuse Roland. He would ask Roland nonsensical questions and beat him if he answered wrong.
Lorroakan was a cruel and vicious man. By day, I'd tend the shop, but at night, he'd fire the most nonsensical questions at me. And for every one I answered wrong, he'd beat me.
Did Lorroakan ask him questions he himself didn't know the answer to? By the way, I spotted a nice little detail. Normally, after talking with Aradin, you go to Lorroakan's chamber. There you see how he is using his assistant as target practice for his animated armor. But if you tell Aradin the truth about the night song...
And Aasimar? Hells. If I'd known, I'd have asked for more gold. Kidnapping costs more than theft.
Don't go to Lorroakan. Wait for Aradin to appear at night in your camp. Then you go to the tower. You can see what happened to his servant. Well, Crank needs more work. When you meet Lorroakan, you have a few options. You can help him imprison Aylin, or tell her about his plan, which will make Aylin head to the tower. You can't stop her.
I will wring his neck until he's dead.
If you don't warn Aylin about Lorroakan and tell Aradin about her, he will appear in camp at night with a few mercenaries.
Leave the night song to me.
I must admit, he definitely is a confident type of guy, thinking that he can take down an Aasimar by himself. Fighting with Lorroakan can be annoying, especially if you want to save Rolan. The easiest way is to take down Fire Myrmidon first. This prevents him from using a fireball and hellish rebuke. After the fight, Dame Aylin doesn't feel good.
The firehead fool is dead. Yet as I stare upon his corpse, I feel... sadness. Why?
We can see that the Child of Moon Maiden aspect disappears, which can be interpreted as breaking the Paladin's oath. She feels like she lost something.
A gripping in the chest. As though I'd lost someone.
If you play as a Paladin and break your oath, you will feel loss and emptiness.
Your strength falters, and emptiness grows within you, Paladin. Something has been lost.
But this doesn't make much sense, because Lorroakan definitely isn't a good guy. He abuses Rolan, doesn't care about his servant, wants to use Dame Aylin for his personal gain. The list is long. Aylin is a paladin of the Oath of Vengeance. The core of principles are fight the greater evil, no mercy for the wicked, by any means necessary, restitution. But on the other side, she crossed the line and let her emotions, hate and pain, take control over her. We saw her first outburst of anger at the end of Act 2, so she destroyed the evil, but also fed her own hatred. Since we're talking about paladins, I would like to add the sticking to the oath can be not only hard, but sometimes evil and immoral. Oathbreaker Knight told about it.
In his name, I raised villages, put thousands to the sword. I believed our greater purpose required such brutality, such sacrifice. But his light was so radiant, it blinded me to all else. I could not see the darkness and corruption of the path he led me down. When I finally saw the truth, he would not be reasoned with. So I ended him. For this, I was called Oathbreaker.
In one of the books in the game, Oral Histories of Faerun, Paladin Oathbreakers, we can read about another Oathbreaker. She didn't regret breaking her oath. I've never take back what I did, what I refused to do. Damn the order. Service became dogma, obedience was virtue, to question was sin. We can explore other possibilities.
Oh no, not again.
There is another explanation. Astarion and Karlach have something to say about this situation. They both want revenge and kill the people who make them suffer. Main point of those dialogues is to see their doubts and show that revenge doesn't make them happy. But there is something else. Pay special attention to the dialogue option for Karlach. You can say to her, "She went too far. There is something dark in her, and it's growing." And now I can introduce to you the theory about fallen Aasimar. Aasimar have free will and their decisions can be different from their divine agents. A quote from Volo's Guide to Monsters. Even Aasimar, wholly dedicated to good, sometimes feels torn between two worlds. Dame Aylin is definitely between two worlds. She falls in love with immortal Isobel. Also, Aylin suffered dozens of years in Shadowfell. Then, when she got back her freedom, another man wanted to imprison her. Aasimar can become corrupted, turn evil. If this happens, their divine agent leaves them. In this situation, they become fallen Aasimar. Their light has been replaced by shadow. So it is entirely likely that Aylin was consumed by hatred. She can't stop herself, pushing further and further. Of course, this theory about fallen Aasimar also has a big problem. Like the lack of change in Dame Aylin's abilities. She is supposed to get a special necrotic power.
It doesn't look broken. Then again, none of us do.
We can explore other possibilities. Dame Aylin felt tired. She hid the pain. There is a darkness growing inside of her. Grief, loss.
Pain is sacred to followers of Lady Shah. Pain will give way to loss and then to the peace of her eternal darkness. You can tolerate a great deal of suffering so long as it has meaning.
Shar is the sister and the counterpart of the goddess of the moon Selûne. Everything touched by Selûne has an equivalent in Shar.
Whatever Shah calls her own, Selûne has equal claim to. They are one and the same. Their power is matched and mirrored.
It is not a coincidence that Ketheric Thorm, who worshipped Selûne, turned towards Shar when he lost his family. We know, thanks to Shadowheart, that Shar is preying on lost sad souls. What's more, we can visit the House of Grief, where Viconia reads minds of melancholy, sad, lonely people.
Unfamiliar presence caresses the deepest layers of your mind. You realize she's trying to detect your thoughts.
By the way, the books you can buy from Miri look like a joke about the genre of poorly written self-help books. Those books are not only overpriced, but also full of obvious truths and meaningless phrases.
Admitting you have a problem is the first step, the hardest step. After that, we will be by your side.
In general, I think that Dame Aylin's story is probably incomplete. Ketheric Thorm was a potential companion, but this part of the game was cut. This suggests that Dame Aylin and Isobel's story might have been more complicated. Dame Aylin lost the Child of Moon Maiden aspect, but we don't see any changes in her behavior. Also, the consequences of bringing Isobel back, the tainted energy in her, aren't explored any further. In my opinion, Aylin's and Isobel's story was supposed to be much darker.
Now you will leave us. We must take succor in one another's bodies and words.
Aylin!